And we are back with the That's Producer Corner. I'd like to welcome our guest tonight, H-Town producer, Grammy Award-winning producer, Mr. Lee. How you doing, my homie?
What's up with it?
Not much, man. Just chilling out, man. Very good show. Like to let the co-host holler at you for a second. Co-host holler at him.
Whoa. Yo. All right, Mr. Lee, this Trey, man. What's going on?
Man, I'm chilling, man. What's going on with you, homie?
Nothing much, man. I just wanted to first say, like when we were talking in the screen room, man, it's just a pleasure. Grew up on your music. One of the some of the music that you made influenced me to actually want to become, a producer. Like I was saying, at Scarface Sex Faces, and I was a big fan of Devin at the time too. And then when that song came out, I was like, whoa, and it really made me realize that just because you come from the South, your music doesn't just have to be catered to Southern.
I mean, bro, really, when we was making music back then, we wasn't making music to be the South. You know what I mean? We were just making music to be making music. We weren't making music to make singles. We weren't going in and saying, oh, we need to go do a record for the radio or for the club. We were just making good music, bro. Really, my hats go off to, like, Scarface and, Big Chief and Rap-A-Lot and people like that, because that's who influenced me to be who I am and really taught me the basics of what music is really about. Right now, we losing that because we not being creative. We're not being artists and individuals. We being followers and trend chasers right now.
Word. And that's real. And like I'm saying, that's what I'm talking about. And see, just because of the fact that, you speak those words, you can hear it through the music, that is serious, and that is something different. And I had one more thing. I had a question I wanted to ask you. And what could you tell us about that day? And when I mean that day is that day that it was like, I'm on.
Man, basically, I had moved from Louisiana to Houston in '96, and I did a lot of work with the Fifth Ward Boys, who are actually the ones that got me in the gate to work with Scarface and everything. PWA was one of my biggest records that I've ever produced, and was one of my first ones. And shortly after that, I got with Scarface. And when I got in the lab with this guy, man, this guy's a musical genius, and he's also a legend. And I held him up to the utmost highest as far as rappers go. Even to this day, I still do.
Right.
And to be able to go in there and create with an artist at that level and that magnitude, and to have a person appreciate what you do as an individual, really let me know that I had what it took to be a producer and a platinum producer at that. That was one of my first platinum records when I worked with him when we did the Sex Faces. And it really let me know then what went into making records like that, dude. We stayed in the studio for hours and days working on that record. It wasn't just going in the studio, dropping a track, laying some vocals on it, and getting out. Devin laid his hook about 15 times.
Right.
We changed snares out, claps out. You know what I'm saying? It was real tedious, bro. We didn't play around back then. This Minuteman stuff that we're doing now is not what that is. And a lot of the big artists that take time on their records, you could tell. You can not only tell in the sound, but you can tell in the sales. Because they don't stick out. You know what I'm saying? When you listen to an Eminem record don't sound like a T.I. record. You know what I'm saying? It don't sound like when you listen to Drake don't sound like Lil Wayne. He doing him. You know what I mean? Lil Wayne don't sound like Jay-Z. You know what I mean? Kanye West. And I can just go on and that and just keep naming a lot of guys out here that's doing their thing that's not scared to go out and do what they do and bring something new to the game, bro. Really, that's what it's all about. You can't be an artist and an individual following somebody else, bro. And you know what I mean? And that's really what made me know what it was to be a producer, because Scarface was on my ass, man. I mean, when I produced the Sex Face record and I made the track, I never forget it. I was sitting on the sofa in the studio in the control room. Bass was sitting up at the mixer writing on the record, and the guy turns around and looked at me, and he's like, "Man, what the fuck you gonna do? You gonna sit down on the couch, or you gonna get to the board and produce this record?"
Home, bro.
And that's when I knew, oh, I'm not doing my job. And I used to always kind of be a little salty. I worked with Scarface the first time, and he used to put his name on all of the credits on the tracks. And, you know, a lot of other producers around me used to talk about it. It's like, yo, man, why this dude putting his name on our music like this when he know he ain't make this track? And then it was like, okay, well, you know what? I made the track, but I didn't produce the song.
Right. Okay.
Not only did Scarface tell me that, but Jimmy Jam told me the same thing too. We were on a panel together in Austin maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, and he used to tell me, we sat down and he was telling me how he was in the studio and how booking the studio out, blocking it out for a day to them meant working for 24 hours, not blocking it out and working for 10 hours. They worked for 24 hours, dude. And he was like, you know, if you're in the studio and you making music and you producing a song, then you have to be involved in the lyric content of the song, the arrangements of the song. That's what a producer does.
Word.
And a lot of people don't get that. And since it's not a lot of us out there that's being producers, you getting the same sounding songs, you getting the same song, same title on it. You know what I mean? All of that. You just look at this shit, man. You getting the same stuff over and over again, bro. And then it's like producers are getting away. Well, I ain't gonna say producers. Beat makers are getting away with making 15 tracks of the same thing, man.
Right.
I ain't come up on that. I don't respect that, bro. I don't respect the producer taking a drum beat that he made on the last track and putting different instruments on it. It's the same beat.
Same beat.
But that's not being a producer, though, so all the songs are sounding the same. Man, when you could take a lyric off of one track and put it on another one that a producer do and they ride the same way, man, it's the same track, bro. I mean, it's no effort putting in it. It's no creative effort putting into that. You've been in an assembly line of making tracks, which each is own. If that's how a person want to ride and that's where they at, then that's where they at, bro. But, you know, me, I've been in the game almost 20 years. And I'm proud to say that I've been in the game I'm gonna be 40 next year, and I'm proud of that. Because the youngsters that coming up, bro, I swear, if a youngster want to get in the studio with me, I would put them guys under the ground, dude. You know what I mean? Because my talent is real, and I recultivate my talent every year, and I study music to be better every year. You know, I may not sell 1 million records on every record that I do, but I'm happy with what I'm doing, and I'm consistent with what I'm doing, and that's what makes me happy with who I am.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Man.
Sir. Definitely some knowledge. Yes, sir.
This is I got a question for you,
I kind of want to rewind, man, to some of the things you said, and excuse me. One of the biggest things I took out of what you said a while ago is I could even go back to when I was in middle school, man, and the thing was there is just, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, you two guys, but there's just this certain mystique that just because you're from the South, you have to sound this way, you have to do this, you have to do that. What do you think about just that perception?
Well, man, I can tell you now, bro, and that's not how it's supposed to be, man. And, you know what I mean, I was around the greats. You know what I mean, I was able to be around the greats. You know what I mean, the Scarfaces, the Pimp C's, the Bun B's, these cats I'm around, these are great artists, man. You know, Pimp C was the type of artist to the point to where, you know, and where I came up at underneath these guys and the N.O. Joes and Mike Deans and the John Beatles, bro, if you didn't have individuality and you came in and you did some music sound like somebody else, that was a disgrace. You get talked about. You get talked to the studio, man, if you came in with somebody else's music or somebody else's lyrics. You know, Pimp C is the only person that could have been Pimp C and ever will be in my eyesight. And you know what I mean? My organs and all the stuff I use in my tracks were heavily influenced by Pimp C and N.O. Joe. My melodic side of my production and my keyboard play and everything that I got was influenced by Mike Dean. Those guys are the guys that helped me find myself.
Word.
You know what I mean? And all the person got to do is look back from 1996 all the way to 2000. Dude, I had at least 6 or 7 songs on every record that came out of Rap-A-Lot. And a lot of people don't even know that I've done these records to this day because I had a different sound for every record, a different drum kit, a different instrument. You know, all of this stuff that cats using now with the screwed up hooks, the rave bass lines, I've done that shit in 1998. I created that shit. You know what I mean? And I can stand on the radio and say that I created that. You know what I mean? So that it's a difference in that, and I'm flattered that people use it. You know, I'm glad that I can influence people because there's nothing wrong with being influenced, but there's something wrong with being a copycat. I mean, it's like Shorty Red. Shorty Red is my guy. It's 100 people out here sound like Shorty Red. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna say no names, but it's a lot of people sound like Shorty Red. You know what I mean? And I don't respect that. You know what I mean? But that's just me. You know, I'm from the old school. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like if you're going to study music, you're going to be a scholar of the craft, and you bring something to the table, you got to be careful what you do, bro, because like y'all said, okay, I've influenced you when you was in high school. I influenced others to do this and that. I get that every day. And that, to me, that's almost worth more than the money, is to being able to influence somebody. So if I'm going to take a position to influence an individual with my music, then I'm going to make sure that I'm doing the right thing and influencing them in the right way and not having somebody influence on some trash and garbage. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, the real music going to last way more than the trends and everything else do. When I was making music 10 years ago, I've never seen a program director in the studio telling us what we need to make.
Home, bro.
You know what I'm saying? I never seen that. I don't see no more developed artists no more. I see incubators being put up with artists popping in the studio, getting a hot song that'll catch real quick, throwing it to the radio, exploiting the shit out of it, and then discarding their careers after it's done. And then the only person that's getting money is the people that's putting the records out.
Right.
The artists ain't even been in the game long enough to even know where their money's supposed to come from, man. You know what I mean? And the people, it's funny because they're taking the rap industry, and I'm going to say the rap industry, and I know it's a few in other genres of music, but mainly rap. These people are blinding us from the business, man. They're making a buffoonery out of what we do. You know what I'm saying? A person to get a nice little signing bonus and be in the whole the rest of their career. No publishing money, no royalties, no nothing. And they're not educated on it to know better. They signing contracts not knowing what they're doing because there's a check in their face. Right. You know what I mean? So this is destroying our culture and everything that we stand for, that we built and that I helped build. You know what I mean? Because I do consider myself a cornerstone of the South, not just a cornerstone of Texas. You know, I hear a lot of producers in Atlanta, a lot of producers in Miami, a lot of producers in New York that use stuff and the things that I've done. I hear it in their music. They might not say it, but I hear it. You know what I mean? And it's okay. That's okay with me because that lets me know that I'm doing my job. Whether they want to use me or not, if they're using something that I've done, I'm doing my job. Definitely. And I'm serving my purpose as a music producer. So, you know what I mean? That's what I'm really in it for.
Word up, man. Word. I think Rich had another question for you, man. I'm gonna let him get at you.
Yeah, how you doing, Mr. Lee? How you doing?
I'm good, brother.
All right. I wanted to this is going back to what you was talking about how important creating your music is. Can you kind of like elaborate on the importance of copywriting, publishing, and licensing of your music as a producer, and why is that so important once you get to that type of level? Okay, once you make it to that semi-pro level, can you kind of elaborate? on how important pretty much taking care of the paperwork part of your production is?
Well, I can't say now in this day and time. It is super important now because we have the internet and things can get exploited so fast. So my thing is, I advise everybody, upcoming producer that think they got hot music, to copyright their music before they put it out. I'll be first one to say I don't practice it, but you know what I mean. A lot of people do know if they do something with mine, that you know what I mean, they're going to deal with me, and I can make a big fuss about it. But I do recommend that upcoming producers copyright their music before they put it out because there's no honor in this business. There's no respect in this business anymore. A person to take your record and with the how easy it is to get equipment and programs to produce music and copy your stuff, sample it and put something on top of it, and you have to be able to prove that you created that and protect yourself because, you know what I mean, again, nobody honors nobody's work anymore, and, you know what I mean, and it's sad that things have come to that, but that's something that is truly very, very important and needs to be done, and everybody needs to pay attention to that.
Right. And what would you say would be like your three most influential rappers and producers that is in this new era that we have going on right now that you think that's doing pretty good?
New producers in this era, I had to give it to I like Polo the Don a lot, and the reason why I like Polo the Don is because when I listen to his music, I can listen to it and be like, oh man, I didn't know he did that. And you know, and I do have to tip my hat off to Lex Luger too, because he's starting to turn the corner and doing something different. And a lot of people are pitching his music now. Like the record he got with Wale, I think is a phenomenal record. And just to see him be able to break out of the mold of the music that he was doing, I commend him for that. And I really can applaud him and respect his talent because it's just deeper than one trendy record. So, you know, he's on the list. And who else could I say? I like Justice League a lot. I like their records because they have a wide span of music too. So, you know, if I had to mention those in those specific order, those would be one of the top three producers that right now that I check for that I admire.
Okay. Word.
All right. Go ahead.
I had a question. I hear you got a production team that you started, man. Tell us a little bit about that. And, as far as producers out there, how can they get down with it, or get you some tracks or whatever?
Well, I got a team of people that I'm assembling, and I'm gonna be making that announcement next month. I have 10 songwriters and producers that I'm putting together, and basically giving them a chance to be individuals underneath my production company, and just being able to take what I've built in my career and embed it into them so it can keep growing. So I'm real excited about that. We're going to be bringing a lot to the music business and to the game because, everything's changing now. So I'm very interested in doing a lot of pop records and just doing a lot of songs, period, and shopping my music that way because that's really truly what producers do anyway. And just magnifying my talent a whole lot and surrounding myself with a lot of people that have the same thing that I had embedded in me at their age. And, I've been very picky about it. When I put it on Twitter, man, I got over 100 emails. And I sift through all of those emails and came up with the most talented 20 out of that 100 people that I received. So I'm very excited about it, man. I got some super talented musicians on board as well. So, it's going to be some big stuff popping off at the top of 2012. And the name of the production company is going to be called The Nod Factors. So y'all be looking for that at the top of the year.
That's what's up, man. I definitely look forward to hearing more about that, man. I got Tregs had a question for you as well.
Yeah, I just had one more question for you, Mr. Lee. Whenever you were in the process of doing your producing, did it ever come a time where you had to be able to actually get your music to sound, as far as the engineering aspect of it? Does that come into play?
It came into play at the very beginning, man. You know what I mean? That's what keeps me ahead of the curve, bro. I'm very heavy into knowing what's what out there. I buy every piece of software that comes out, but at the beginning of my career, I had to learn how to work on the SSL. The first board I worked on was a Euphonics. And unlike everybody else, when you listen to my music, everybody knows my music and my sound because it's very distinct. And why is that? Is because I'm very detailed with what sounds I use. My drums are sounds that I've been using for the last 16, 17 years that I've run through Neve boards, SSLs, you know what I mean? And a lot of these cats don't know what that is. A lot of the cats don't even know how to catch drum sounds off of records. I mean, they don't even know what that means.
Right.
And so that's why my music sounds so different than everybody else's. And you can hear it in Dr. Dre's music. You can hear it in Jermaine Dupri's music because we all grew up in that era where that was important. It's not important now to a lot of these cats. They find the software in the box and they're using whatever's available for them there. They don't go ahead of themselves to use anything else different. That's why you can hear a lot of producers that produce tracks. You get on YouTube and you hear a Fruity Loop version of their music and it sounds exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
Because all of their instruments and drum sounds are available in a box. You can't get no Mr. Lee drum sounds in no box. You know what I mean? And then a lot of cats just don't know the art of mixing and the hertz, the trim off of a kick, or what frequency the trim off of it to make it sound right. They don't know what that means. They don't know what it means. They don't know what a ratio of a compressor means. They don't know what a threshold means. You know what I mean? So they can't exploit the art because they're not studying.
Word. We just copy and beat.
Exactly. You know what I mean? That's why I'm going to take these group of people that I have and I'm going to teach them everything. So they're going to know exactly what I know, and it's going to mess their mind up when they figure it out. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people are not doing it, and that's what's going to carry them for decades and more because they'll be able to recreate these. I'll create sounds. And I learned that from Mike Dean and N.O. Joe. They taught me that. I didn't pop up and just learn that. They taught me that.
Right, it's that mentorship. We was talking about that the last show.
Exactly. You know what I mean? You can't keep a legacy going if you don't teach it and if you don't pass it.
Right.
Exactly.
You know, there's a lot a person can learn from me if they sit down and ask. I'm not threatened on telling a person what I use and what I do because it's only one Mr. Lee.
Right. Yes, sir. That's a lot of knowledge, man. It's been a pleasure, man. Love it. Appreciate your music.
Definitely. A lot of knowledge, man. So what kind of shout-outs you got, and how could people get a hold of you, as far as for tracks or just to inquire about getting involved with you as far as production? I also want to thank you for just coming on the show, man. It's definitely a pleasure and an honor to have you on the show.
Well, Don, anytime y'all need me, man, I'm a phone call away.
Yes, sir.
Already.
Definitely, if somebody want to get in touch with me, they can hit my Twitter up. It's Mr._Lee713 on Twitter. And you can hit me up on blazetrack.com. That's BLAZETRAK.com/Mr. Lee. If you want to submit your demos or stuff like that or get at me about being on the production team, that's going to be the best way to do it. And it is a tab to submit it. I'm going to let that be known because my time is money and money is time. So, blazetrack.com/Mr. Lee is where you can submit your work, your songwriting skills, or whatever you want to submit to me. You can do it there. I'd like to shout out Mouthpiece Drew. That's my partner, my manager. Shout out Slim Thug, Rap a Lot, the whole Dallas movement, Duro, Big Chief. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to keep it moving on that end and make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Anybody want to get at me, hit me on that Twitter, Mr.Lee713, or blazetrack.com/Mr. Lee. And y'all can get it over.
That's what's up, man. It was definitely, a lot of good info, man. A lot of wise words you put, to us as producers, man. Again, it was definitely a pleasure having you on the show, man. We're about to break to our next commercial break. We'll be back with D-Dot's Producer's Corner.
All right, that's it. Yeah.